So it is nice when there is a system that kind of allows us to better play the game of Overwatch more consistently. I think that is generally a very, very good thing. We've had wave respawns for about 2 weeks at the time I'm filming this, and I think generally I'm pretty positive on them, but I do want to talk about some of the things that I think are good and some of the things that I think are maybe needing a little bit of improvement or just kind of some bad side effects of wave respawns. So basically, let's start off with the good, right? What do I like about this? Now, this is going to be mainly from kind of like a comp perspective. That's how much I've played. I played about like 100 plus games of comp already this season. So I've gotten a lot of experience with this system about how it feels or about how you kind of really don't feel it sometimes. And we'll get there. But I'm also a bit of a quick play warrior when it comes to Overwatch. At least I have been in the past. I play a lot of quick play when I just want to just relax and not have to worry about comp because I take things a little too seriously sometimes. And I want to say that group respawn is way better than wave respawns are way better than group respawns, in my opinion. Group respawns were really frustrating. It always felt like you never knew exactly when you were going to respawn, and sometimes it made some of the respawns feel really, really long and just frustrating, basically. So I think with wave respawns, the conditions for spawning in are much, much, much more clear, right? I think that is one of the best things. It's like, it's a very easy system to track. It's just when you die, if someone dies within 6 seconds of you, they're going to spawn when you do, right? That's it. So respawn timers are now 12 seconds up from 10. And then if nobody spawns with you, you'll just get a regular 10-second respawn timer. That's it. It's very intuitive. It just creates the waves, right? And I think one of the best things about this system is that it only ever takes time off of your respawn. It never adds it to it. That was one of the worst things about the group respawn system, is that it always felt like there were times where you were just like sitting there ready to respawn and then somebody else dies and then you have to wait longer because they die. It's like I got punished and I can't respawn faster because somebody else died. That's kind of what it read to me, and it was just really, really just unfun, and you were just kind of sitting around for extra time for a while. And that's just no fun, to just be sitting in spawn, just not able to do anything. So it's really good, right? And honestly, the longer respawn times, now that they are 12 seconds with the wave respawns, they actually don't feel as such because you're able to get everybody back in the fight quicker because you have less waiting around. Because people are already there and you're not going to like spawn in and then walk forward a little and go, well, my team's not here and I have to sit here and wait for them to respawn. Since they all respawn together, there's less waiting around, and the longer 12-second respawn timer, you just don't feel it as much anymore because you don't have to wait for all those people. You can just get right back into the action, at least in theory. Now, if there's 2 waves going on at one time, it gets a little muddled, but honestly, for the most part, that doesn't happen too often. So I think that it's just, and compared to group respawn, such a net benefit. Net benefit over that system in quick play. So if this were just in quick play, I would absolutely love this system. But it's not only in quick play, right? They decided to go ahead and roll it out directly into comp. Now, I did not really agree with just adding this system right away because I think it does change a little bit of how you play. And we hadn't really tested it at all, and we didn't really know if it was going to work as well in comp or if people would like it in comp. But I think it's been a good thing. Let's talk about the stats that they gave us. They have already said that the number of one-sided games has gone down even more so than with group respawns. Now, you got to remember, if you ever saw that initial graph about how group respawns worked as compared to wave respawns, it made GM games way closer. And then down from there, it made those games like, it didn't really have much of an effect. So all the way down in bronze, it had maybe like 2% effectiveness, like 2% more or 2% less one-sided games, basically. And I feel like that just didn't really capture what they wanted to. But Gavin Winter has already come out and said that the number of one-sided games has reduced dramatically across the board, which is really, really good. I think that it is just more fun when you get to play a close game. Games are not fun when they're steamrolls either way. They're either really boring and weird because you're just like rolling them. There's not much skill involved. The team is just floundering and it's just, like, when can this game get over? Or if you're on the receiving end of it, it just feels like you guys are able to do nothing. You never even had any good fights ever. And, this is ladder. I'm not talking to my teammates very often. We're not getting very good communication when it does happen because we don't know each other and we don't know how each other plays and we don't understand everyone's hero pools or how they play the game, their understanding of it wider. So it is nice when there is a system that kind of allows us to better play the game of Overwatch more consistently. I think that is generally a very, very good thing. And it makes the games that much less frustrating when you're playing just in a completely unorganized setting, right? Now, a criticism of this system was about staggering doesn't matter as much, and that you don't get punished for staggering yourself. But honestly, I really just think that it makes the skill of staggering somebody harder because you actually have to wait a certain amount of time and try to kind of min-max if you're going to stagger them or not, right? So think about a character. Sometimes you would keep characters alive as long as possible without them, killing you so that you stagger them and you get a better fight. But now you really have to think it's worth it, right? Because if there is the accidental, like, oh, they killed us, but then we killed them right away. What if they catch a wave and your guy doesn't, and now they're back faster, right? So there is a bit of like a skill curve of trying to figure out when do we actually want to stagger somebody? When is it worth it? And when do we just need to get everybody dead as soon as possible? So staggering still exists. It's not like it's completely gone. And I think that the trade-off for it is that we just get better, closer, more fun games. That's not a bad thing. I really don't think that's a bad thing. I really do think that this was a really good way to implement this system and take a little bit back from my feeders in my games who are just doing their own thing. We can have more actual team fights like we want to. There's still obviously, I can understand all, sides of the argument, basically just like, well, that's just not as skillful. It's not team play oriented. And I honestly don't think this should be in competitive games. I don't think this should be in Overwatch Champion Series. I don't think it should be in Face It, anything like that. I really wish there was some kind of way to not have this active in those games, because I do think that people would appreciate that. I think Wave Respawn is a great thing for ladder because it just allows for more team fights, but it's, not necessarily as needed in a in a professional environment. And I think that's an okay, like, what's it called, split to have. It's just if Overwatch and Blizzard are willing to do that, that's kind of more of the question, right? So I think those are the good, right? This is the good of this system. Now, what's the bad? I thought I was going to have more bad, but I really do think that I just have some game modes that it doesn't quite work with so well. So let's talk about Clash. I've already talked about this a little bit in the past, but it makes Clash games really, really frustrating. It seems like it's 2CP2, where people are just coming back and trickling, and they're able to kill one of your team before they die, but it doesn't matter because they're just like, they're playing this war of attrition where they're trying to get you guys to die and have longer respawns and come back. I just, in general, think Wave Respawn shouldn't be in Clash. Just hands down. I also think that this sometimes happens on Control as well. Now, I've been working on, I'm going to call it a hit piece for Control, because I really don't like that game mode. And it's not the game mode's fault, it's the map's fault. But it definitely it exacerbates the issues I have with Control when people are just back in the fight and staggering back in more and more. There are a couple of really problem points on Control. Think about Lijiang Garden. That's one of those points, or Oasis City Center, those two, where like it feels like fights can never end because of the big thing in the middle and the walls on the outside, and it's hard to get into the points, and once you're into the points, it's hard to kill people in those points, and so people just keep coming in and in. You can never find anybody. it's just like kind of a big mess. And wave respawns definitely exacerbate that mess a little bit. So that is definitely the biggest downside to me, is that some game modes, some points really feel awful with wave respawns. And I think it's really easy to get mad at the stuff that you can feel right away, like that stuff, because I do think that wave respawns in general are pretty invisible. It's really hard to see their general what's it called, use, or like their general impact in normal games, or at least most of the time, right? But when it's not going well, you really feel when wave respawns are like, well, why is this like this, right? So that's my biggest complaint. My other complaint, and really it's the only one I can think of, and please, in the comments below, if you have any more, please, I want to hear what you think. I just said that when you're going for those intentional staggers, it's kind of hard to track when a wave is going on. Like, yes, you can do some math with the scoreboard, but like trying to figure out like when are they going to catch the wave and when are they not, and then you got to kind of look at the scoreboard, and you don't just like see the scoreboard and go, okay, this is who's in this wave, whatever. It's not that quick. You have to like scroll, you have to like scan everybody else on the other team and be like, how long is their respawn timer? Like, when did it start? You know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit more you have to think of about like when are they going to hit a wave and stuff. It's not that much of a problem, but it's not like instantly accessible information. There are a couple steps to do it. Again, it's not hard math, but it is something that you have to take your focus away from the game on for more than just a split second. It's not like looking and going, they have an ult or we have an ult, we don't. You kind of have to do a lot more heavy lifting to make that a reality, right? Not a big problem, just kind of a weird one, in my opinion. And I don't know how there is a way to fix this. Maybe color code respawns so that like the first wave is one color and the second wave is another color, I don't know, stuff like that. That could really help, at least with the scoreboard cleaning it up in that regard, right? But yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, there really aren't that many negatives for ladder, right? Again, for competitive, what's it called? Like professional Overwatch, I think that this is a little bit more contentious, but honestly, just for ladder, I think it's just more fun. It's more fun for everybody. More fights equals more fun. Closer games equals more fun. That's just kind of a fact, right? I think we can kind of all agree on that. So I don't really have anything to harp on wave respawns. I think they have been a surprisingly positive change for the game, and I'm a big fan. I just think they need to be tweaked on certain points and certain game modes, and that's kind of it. So that's it. That's this little mini discussion on wave respawns. Again, let me know in the comments, what do you think about wave respawns? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you prefer the old systems? Anything, let me know. Like and subscribe while you're at it. And this was streamed live at twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. There's always something to talk to me about. And also, don't forget to join my Discord that's down below. Give me a hot take, a rework idea, send me a replay code so I can take a look at it. We got a new patch today. I'm giving some free coaching. So codes have reset. Go play a game, play a couple games. Give me a nice code to look at, and I'll give you some feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.